You see, most people, will not be able to distinguish between a Christian hating a sin and hating them. Because if you are constantly othering people, if you're constantly putting this group into, everybody that has this behavior is that, push them aside, those individuals will not, I promise you, they will not see love. They won't see Jesus reflected in your eyes. They won't see the love of God coming through you. They'll just see your hatred and your disgust and your this and your that and your the other. You see, the thing that hurts me, bugs me to no possible end, is how ineffective some Christians are. They're horrible representatives. You're supposed to be a representative of God in your life. You're supposed to preach the gospel, and if you look back in the New Testament, Jesus may have said, "Go and sin no more," but he didn't spend his entire life, his entire ministry downgrading, beating around the ears every person he came across. Because it is not an us versus them. I mean, yes, like I said, there are forces in this world that are actively trying to damage, destroy the Christian faith. I'm sure of that. But we can't say that everybody who, commits this sin or, whatever, that they're push them away, they're disgusting. We're all human. We all have the tendency, the capacity for horrible behavior. And yes, there are people in this world that there probably is no real hope for. But that's not up to you to decide. That's up to God to decide. He has the final word. You just keep on keeping on. You just keep on throwing that love out there as much as you possibly can. Just all the time. Try to let go of these us versus them, these, it doesn't mean you have to embrace sin. Excuse me. That's in no way what I'm implying. See, something that people just seem to have a really difficult time with is love versus acceptance. It's two different things. You can say, okay, I believe this behavior is sinful. I believe if you want a relationship with God, you have to turn from your sin. You have to say, this is not what matters most in my life. What matters most in my life is a relationship with God, which means I'm going to turn away from those things that are contra to God's design and his plan and his rules. I want a relationship with him. Therefore, I don't want to do the things that hurts that relationship. I don't want to go and, do this or that or the other thing and alienate God, or to say I'm on my own, I'll do my own thing, and that he created us. He has every right to set the rules. If he says marriage is a man and a woman, and that's the only acceptable way of being intimate is that it has to be male, female, and inside of the bounds of marriage. Well, he sets the rules. So you can choose to obey them or not. You can say, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Or you can choose to just not have sex. And I know that's awful because, you know, a person's sexuality is a very deeply ingrained. I mean, you know, for the most part, you sort of look at it like, wait a minute. You know, you can choose not to lie or steal or, you know, whatever. I mean, there's times when, you know, someone asks you if they look good in this new outfit and you're like, oh, no, you don't. But you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you lie and tell them they do. And that's still a sin. You could choose to say, no, you look awful, I'm sorry, but I think it's not a very flattering outfit, or whatever, and then not lie. But then you've hurt somebody's feelings and so on. And, you know, you don't want to hurt people on purpose just all the time. I mean, you want to tell the truth, but, you know, anyway. So, but those kinds of things seem to be pretty... a lot easier to deal with those kinds of situations than, you know, who you're attracted to, you know, in that, you know, loving sexual kind of way. You know, like I said, we're all in it together. You know, it's time we stopped, you know, constantly pushing people into categories and, you know, us versus them and othering, you know, everybody out there that doesn't see everything the way we do, because it's us, all of us. Yeah, there's some that will never choose to be, you know, part of the community of Christ. They'll never choose to be, you know, part of this, but you're certainly not going to get any additional, you know, people in the fold or whatever by constantly spewing hatred. And it's just not the way you go about it. And I wish people would see that. Anyway, so